Very early, Master Tara Singh's case in the Punjab High Court followed the Supreme Court judgments, said that there is no public order, etc., and said sedition is a colonial law which cannot stand muster under our new constitution, and struck down Section 124 capital A. The Patna High Court, however, held a different view, saying that now Romesh Thapar and Brij Bhushan were no longer good law because public order had now been added. The Manipur High Court held something in between and said, yes, it is good provided it does not lead to incitement by way of violence, etc. And a full bench of the Punjab High Court in 1958, despite the fact that there was the Patna High Court to the contrary, also struck down 124 capital A, saying it was a colonial law which had no place in our laws after the constitution came into force. The stage was now set for a showdown in the Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court in Kedarnath's case, you had one case which came up from Bihar and three which came up from UP. And ultimately, after going through the entire gamut of the judgments, the law, the English law on sedition, etc., the court gave 4 reasons, which I'll come to a little later, and ultimately said that if we can read a particular provision in a particular way, as the federal court read it, namely that so long as disaffection to the government of the day is accompanied by an attempted incitement to violence or disorder, it would be good. So ultimately in 1962, the section stood, though it was a colonial law that had been misused often and continues to be misused. Now, post 1962, we had 2 wars. We had the China War, we had the Pakistan War of 1965, as a result of which another draconian measure comes into force, which is the Unlawful Activities Act of 1967. And here under Section 2O, an unlawful activity is defined for the first time as various things, including security of state, but also defined as having disaffection to India. Now, this was a big leap forward because it wasn't merely to the government of the day. In short, a distinction was made to the state, that is India as a concept, as a country, and the government of the day. However, despite having made this distinction, disaffection continues in the statute book. And it is a very draconian act because you have a minimum 5-year sentence leading up to life imprisonment. Also, you don't have anticipatory bail. And if bail is to be granted, then all that prosecution needs to show is a prima facie case against you. Now, this act again has not yet come under the scanner in any real way. And like the sedition section under 124 capital A will have to be looked into, given the great advances made in the law in the subsequent judgments after 1962. So from the Unlawful Activities Act, we come now to 1971, where there is a Law Commission report. The Law Commission report suggests various changes, suggests that 124A be brought in line with the federal court line of reasoning, also suggests that there be a broad basing of disaffection, not merely to the government of the day, but also to various institutions, which would include the national flag, the constitution, etc., etc. Now, of course, this Law Commission report was never actually enacted into law, so that it remains a dead letter. In 1976, we had Article 31D, which introduced anti-national activities. But then 31D also was repealed by the 44th Amendment. So that again didn't take us very, very far. The new CRPC in 1973, as was told to you by the Advocate General, now made the offense a cognizable one, which means the police could arrest you now without warrant, which again is a very serious thing. Now, given all this and given this baggage and background, in 1995 and 97, the Supreme Court acted proactively, but since there were smaller benches, they had to actually follow the 1962 judgment, but ultimately acquit persons who were caught under the sedition section. Private members' bills were also moved in 2011, 2015. One to do away with sedition altogether, and one to try and bring in the federal court concept that you must have disorder along with it. Neither went any further. So that finally now we are left with this colonial law, and we are left with this judgment which upholds section 124 capital A. The first important thing now is to note the reasons given in the 1962 Constitution bench judgment. There are 4 of them. The first reason given is that the expression used in Article 19(2) is in the interest of. So it can be a reasonable restriction in the interest of public order. In the interest of is a loose, elastic expression. So there need be no proximate relation to public order. It's good enough that there is some relation, albeit indirect. This won't stand muster today because somehow or the other, the court missed Ram Manohar lawyer's judgment, which was a 1960 judgment before 62, also of our constitution, which explained the judgment in Virendra, which held this loose kind of concept and said that no, in the area of free speech, in the interest of is something that must be proximate. So that's the first reason. The second reason given is read the section as a whole. If you read the section as a whole, it is obvious that the section not only attempts to grab people who make speeches, but attempts to grab people who incite others to violence. Now here again, however you read the section has nothing whatsoever about violence. The Privy Council correctly said, sedition is a concept which may be a concept in English law, but you go by the statute here. And the statute here says nothing about violence. It's enough that there is disaffection or disloyalty to the government established by law. Therefore, this is again something that needs looking into. The third reason given is a very peculiar reason. Please see Hayden's case, a 1584 judgment, and apply what is called the mischief rule. Now, if you are to apply the mischief rule, it is a section that has been set up expressly by a colonial master in order to suppress free speech in a colony. If you are to apply the mischief rule, then what happens is that the moment you apply the mischief rule, out comes the colonial law in all its glory and then grabs the Indian citizen after Article 19(1)(a). Hayden's case, therefore, has nothing to do with this. And the fourth reason given is equally peculiar, that if there is a literal reading also of the provision, please read it down. Any number of our judgments have held after 1962 that reading down cannot be reading in, so that you cannot read the words the words violence, etc., into section 124A to possibly save it. Now, apart from these, there are 2 other very, very important judgments which have now come. One is in Shreya Singhal, where 66 capital A of the Information Technology Act has been struck down. This judgment holds 2 things very clearly. Whether you discuss something or whether you advocate something, free speech covers you completely. It only goes out if there is a reasonable apprehension as to incitement to either an offense or to violence. And the second thing it lays down, and that is even more important, the chilling effect that you have on free speech. Now, if you are booking persons, including journalists, under this provision, the chilling effect that it will have on free speech is enormous, because people will not speak their minds. They know they are going to be booked. And if they are booked, both under this and under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, anticipatory bail is out. And there are large sentences which await them. So, to conclude, even the Shaira Bano case would show that manifest arbitrariness is now a ground which you can take, saying that a colonial law is now being brought to oppress a free citizen. So I would exhort the Supreme Court, and there is a live case before it, not to keep sending the case back to government, because governments will come, governments will go, and it's not government's business to start amending or repealing laws. The important thing to do is for you to use your powers and strike down the law. If you strike down 124A and you strike down the offensive parts of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, the citizen here can breathe more freely. And maybe this country will move from 142 out of 180 to something much higher. Thank you all very much.